Hello, everybody. Andrea Lane with Berkshire Hathaway Home Services, Ambassador Real Estate, and we're back for 30 minutes with the Realtor. I loved all the feedback that I got from everybody that there was value in doing the videos, so we're going to keep doing them. We'll kind of catch up for August and September, and so I brought in the lovely Miss Lisa Bowman today. I thought, we always talk with some of the experts and stuff, and sometimes I think it's fun if, especially people from the standpoint of the big audience, who maybe sees some of the videos and they go, who is this realtor? Like, who is she? Like, why should I talk to her? Like, and I was like, you know what? We sat down and did a video that we never got edited. You and I talking. So to kind of give Lisa an introduction, Lisa is one of my clients, and I call my clients my friends too, because I love going out to coffee and doing stuff with her and the kids. And you were kind of what I call the statistic too, because I met you in an open house.
Yes. Yeah.
And everybody always goes, well, open houses for selling the house. And I'm like, no, open houses aren't for selling the house you're holding open, but it's to meet clients like you and pick up a potential buyer and so forth. So we didn't wind up writing on the house that we met at.
No.
But then we wound up going out to other houses and kind of built the relationship from there. So we've done 2 home purchases and 2 home sales together.
Yes. Yeah.
And we've hit a broad range of town on top of it, which is kind of
we really have
the fun. So I was actually driving past. So the first house you guys sold with me was on North 49th.
Yes.
And I remember because when we went to sell it was when they made the changes to the lead-based paint. Like, you guys literally got to do the lead-based paint, or you painted the exterior yourself before they made the changes where now it has to be like a lead-based paint company, which that house was super cute.
Oh, it was. Yes.
Loved it. And you guys made it easy because you remodeled the kitchen and you staged very well. Your house as a whole is always cute.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, no, you make it easy for me. So, but let's talk. I want to kind of talk very candidly, and that's some of what I wanted this video to be was, which is kind of why you see my office kind of being in a mess. My house was like, oh, you need to pick everything up. You're doing your video today. I was like, no, I want everybody to see that it's not always perfect. It's not always pretty. Yeah. That it's a little chaotic. It's stuff everywhere or whatever, because that's how we live.
Yeah.
And so oftentimes what you see in pictures and online is not what we get in person. And we'll kind of get into that a little more with some of the stuff we'll talk about. But so talk about, so you're at an open house and you met me.
Yes.
Which I had to think back because I was like, oh my gosh, like was that 08?
Oh, yes, it would have been. Yes. My oldest is 12. He was 09. It was a year and a half.
I remember you guys moved in and you found out you were pregnant.
I found out I was pregnant the day we painted. Yeah, so we had taken possession of the home on Mayfair. We were in that 2-week process. We were still getting everything up to code and ready to sell at 49th because that was a VA loan. So there were some extra things to do there. But we met you then, 4 or 5 months before that? Because it was kind of a long process, very picky. You really learn that about yourself when you're looking for a home, and you take
you mean that you're picky?
I am very picky.
But what makes you say that you're picky?
Because there were homes that we would walk into and I would take 2 steps in and be like, nope.
That's not picky. Sometimes sometimes it's because I always tell everybody, like, finding a home is like dating, and it's like you could be on the first hello and you're just like, nope, this is not it. I got to sit through at least 1 drink.
Yeah.
And then you go, right?
Yeah. And my husband is very like, well, let's just look. Let's look. Let's go out to the basement. Let's go into the backyard. And I'm like, no, I wanted to see the kitchen. I'm done. And I don't know if you remember this, but my husband really wanted to stay closer to 49th where we were. And I knew that we wanted to have a family and I wanted to move us out towards the Millard School District. And so then every time we would go, you and I would move him like 12 blocks further west for the homes we were looking for. So it was really nice to know, probably on our second meeting, that I had like an ally. Like, you were going to help me find the house I wanted. You were going to help Bryant feel comfortable with where we ended up. And then, of course, we found the perfect house for us. And
oh, that yard was amazing.
Oh, my goodness. It was great.
Yeah.
Yes,
and you guys loved the neighborhood.
Yeah, it was perfect.
And so, yeah, you met me when I was still at Keller Williams. Or actually had just come over to Keller Williams. So I think you were one of my first closings with Andrea, who I still work with to this day at DRI Title. So yeah, like 13 years working with her as well. And so I think some of that kind of goes is when I've worked with so many of the people that I've worked with for so long.
Yes.
That speaks volumes because you're not going through people. And there's certain contractors and stuff I have that you wind up going through. It just is kind of the pattern of it. So we've got past that. So the NAR statistic on open houses is that less than 1% of open houses actually sell the house you're in. I don't know if you knew that.
I had no idea.
And that statistic really hasn't changed in like 15 years.
Okay.
So like, yeah, the open house is there for me to meet you. So you guys met me. We started working. We found the house on Mayfair, and you guys were there for a while. And I know we kept up really well. Facebook was a really good one for us.
Yeah.
And then when you guys had the baby, because I remember popping over when the first one was born and the second and everybody and just kind of keeping in contact. But that really wasn't our trouble house. I think the second round of house hunting was more intense.
It definitely was. And of course I didn't know that when we bought Mayfair. That was the first time I had been involved in a home buying process, I guess. And so that felt, to me, young, pregnant with my first kiddo, that felt stressful. And I just remember calling and texting and relying so much on you and saying to Bryant, like, thank goodness we have Andrea. My family's not here. His family had never bought and sold. They've lived in the same house forever. Like, we needed your expertise. So it was so nice to have that. But then we were at Mayfair for 8-9 years. And then we bought just 4 years ago. And everything that could have gone wrong tried to go wrong. I remember you being in my kitchen, like at the new house, and me crying, and you were like, I've got this. I have you taken care of. We're doing this and this and this. And then I am going to drive 110 miles an hour to the airport so I don't miss my flight. But you were totally willing to do that and be there for us. And it was fantastic because the other side of the people who were selling to us was just a nightmare from top to bottom, and we would have given up and we would have missed out on what is now our dream house and our dream neighborhood. So
I believe it. So let's backtrack just a little for that. So we did this in 2017. Is we started looking for houses, and I know you had said like some of your confines were we want to stay in Millard.
Yes.
And so I was like, okay. And there was a couple areas, because I know we had bumped into each other a number of times at Lifetime Fitness, like going to the pool and stuff with the kids.
Yep.
And so I knew kind of like area-wise, like where you guys wanted to be. And we came across the house that was Armbrust Acres and went to go see it. And I remember because it wasn't the first time that we walked through it, because of course this was when you could walk through one or two houses and wait a day or two before you actually offered on it. It wasn't like it is right now.
Yeah.
And so it wasn't the first time we went through it, because I think the first time we went through it was just you and I, and then we brought Bryant back.
Yes, it was the 3rd of July. That was why Bryant wasn't there. He was like home getting everybody ready for a party, and you and I walked through, and I like FaceTimed my mom, and I was like, I think this is it. And she was like, you need to get Bryant back out there.
And what's interesting is, like, even just walking through the basement and stuff, because there was a couple things you didn't like, but I was like, hey, I think there's some stuff we can get past.
Yeah.
Because some of the other things that we liked, like it was in a cul-de-sac, and it was the neighborhood. It was really close to the gym. It was
the bedrooms were huge.
Oh, the bedrooms were huge.
Yes. The living space was great.
So we did a home inspection.
Yes.
And it was when you could still do home inspections. Like, I know right now it's, kind of give and take sometimes with home inspections, but Brent at Midlands Home Inspections did that for us, which, oh my gosh, love Brent. And I pulled in a couple of my contractors like I usually do for the specific systems, and because the roof was one of them, because I'd seen the roof when we walked through it and said, hey, I think that this may not be a roof that's going to make it, because it was shake shingles. A lot of the shakes were lifted. Right. Brent flagged it from the home inspection because he said there was wear and tear, a lot of lifted.
Yes.
And so we had Ryan Weber with Weber Construction came out to look at the roof for us. And we had talked to the agent who basically fought us up to the day of close.
Through the day of close.
Yes. Right, because we were at the day of closing, and closing got delayed.
Twice.
Yes. Because we had Red Rhino Roofing came back out and just verified that, yes, this roof needed replaced. And then you guys found out after the fact when you moved in that everybody in the neighborhood knew.
Yes.
And this guy knew, that the seller knew he needed a new roof.
Yes.
So I actually got a call from CNS Roofing, who was one of the ones who inspected that roof, because from the first house we bought, I write in 3 contractors. So 2 that were for whoever they wanted and 1 that was mine.
Right.
And so Weber was the one that I wrote in for mine. And CNS was one of the other ones that checked it out. And CNS called me and said that whoever I had as a roofer must be crazy, because that roof was fine. Right. And so then closing, we wound up having to hold it up because we had to replace it. And then I thought it was interesting when you said after the fact, you're like, oh yeah, everybody else in the neighborhood knew that this guy was supposed to get a new roof.
Yes.
So what would you say for some of the people watching? Like, what do you feel are some of the things you've learned now in 2 home purchases and now 2 home sales? Like, what's some advice that you would throw to them?
I would say it's okay to know your boundaries, and it is okay to walk away. And the way you're going to know if this is we can fix it, we can negotiate it, or we need to walk away is by finding a realtor that you know and that you develop that relationship with, that you can trust. Like, at the end of the day, as an average home buyer, I'm going to buy 3-4 homes in my whole life. I will never be the expert at this, but you do this on a day-to-day basis. So to find that person that you can rely on, that you can call, that you can trust, and to have your contacts that you vetted and that you trusted. When Weber comes out and checks out the roof, you know you can trust him, and you know he's not just telling you that because he thinks that's what you want to hear.
Nope.
And so then I know I can trust Ryan, and that gives me leverage then when I'm trying to make those decisions of, is this something I push on? Is this something that I negotiate? Is this something I have to walk away from? So I think that's something that I would really stress to people. Like, trust your instincts, but more than that, trust your realtor. If you have a good realtor.
Yeah. Well, and so that was what was interesting. One of the boards I was on yesterday, people were talking about home inspections. And that was like the big thing that everybody was kind of commenting was either in having to admit your home inspection or in trusting your realtor to have a good home inspector. Yeah. Like what was the quote was, what were the things your home inspector missed? And so what was frustrating and very hard for me to not say anything is that the reality is no home is perfect.
Right.
But I think the average home buyer goes into buying a home and says, oh, this is going to be perfect, and there's nothing we're going to have to fix, and there's nothing we're going to have to do. And the reality is, even in brand new construction, you can move in and still have to fix something, still have a dishwasher that leaks, still have just something that happens that you have absolutely no control over. So that was my first one, was who's telling you that these homes are perfect and that there's not going to be a problem?
Right.
And the hard thing I think that most buyers don't realize is that dishwasher can work when you do the home inspection.
Right.
Dishwasher will work until you close, and then you get moved in, and all of a sudden it will leak.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not that it was bad before. Yeah. It's just that that's when it decided to give out. No different than a car that you're driving was great for the week up until you decided you were going to go sell it, and then like you get a flat tire or something goes out. So that was some of my frustration. And the other was hearing people say that realtor, like who your realtor was. Mm-hmm. And I think my cautionary was when we did the first home inspection, and I literally remember we wrote the contract at an Applebee's. The Applebee's by Oakview Mall was where we wrote the contract at. And I remember writing the stuff that we wanted from some of the repairs ahead of time. Mm-hmm. Just knowing what we were, coming into or whatnot. Is to have somebody that has a little experience. So at the time we wrote that contract, I had been an agent 2.5 years, but I was on my 3rd house because my husband and I both had houses and then we were on our house. Yeah. So you gain some of that experience.
You do. Yeah.
And I feel that that's the unfortunate of our industry is we have a lot of younger realtors who don't have the experience. They don't even live in a house.
Right.
So they don't know.
They've never been on either side of it.
Right.
Yes.
Right, which is the like even when you're getting ready to sell your house, the stuff that happens that you're like, why did my dishwasher decide to leak now, or the water machine isn't working in the fridge, and
we always joke that our home is never so perfect as right before we sell it.
Right,
that's when you finish all of those projects. You finally get that baseboard put back up. Yes,
that is a true statement. Like we should all live like we're about to sell our house,
right?
And then it would be easy. So from that standpoint, what do you feel from a home inspection viewpoint that because I definitely feel that that house 4 years ago, the one in Armbrust Acres, really even taught me some stuff.
Oh my goodness. Yes.
That I had to learn. Like the home inspector noted an issue with the water heater.
Yes.
And then the seller had turned it to vacation mode, which I didn't even know existed.
Right.
And I had my plumber come over with me in the morning to check it out, and he was the one who turned it, and that's when everything started to leak again.
Yeah.
And it's because on vacation mode, it runs at a low heat.
Yes. Yeah.
And then when they turn it on regular, it's regular use.
Yep.
And so so that was a new, even for me.
Right.
And that was 4 years ago.
Yeah.
What do you feel are some of the things that you would tell somebody to look for from a home inspection, like walking through, or
spend the time with your home inspector, because they go ahead of you, right? And they collect all of their data and they figure it out, and then when you get there, they kind of walk you through it, right? If you or your the person you're buying with, if you're not super comfortable with that, bring somebody who is, somebody who knows the questions to ask. I wouldn't necessarily look at that report and say, here's a follow-up question on that. But Bryant does. My husband does. He's good at that, and you're good at that. So I would say don't be afraid to ask questions with your home inspector, because really they're part of your team. They're there also to help advocate for you. And you can go and say, I'm worried about that crack up in the corner. And they can say, that's from settling. Here's what you can be concerned about. Here's what you won't. I would really say, like, don't be worried about looking foolish during any part of this process. Like, this is all about a home buyer education, I feel like. Because then there were things that we got into the home and we kind of, every time we do a project at this home, there are layers of issues. And I was thinking about that when you were talking about how people were saying, oh, well, an inspector didn't find this, or they expect the home to be perfect. At the end of the day, the inspector is on your team, and they're going to find everything they can for you. And they're going to really kind of flag you, red, yellow, green, worry about it, fix it, don't worry about it. But they also don't have x-ray glasses. When we pulled our deck out, we realized there were some foundational issues under that. There's no way our inspector could have ever found that, short of pulling the deck out himself.
Sure.
So I think also just keep in mind that when you have an inspector, like, ask the questions, but do understand there's only so much that they can see. So if you see something that they don't see, or you see something that they didn't write down, ask about it, follow up on it.
Well, that's what your walkthroughs for, right?
Yeah.
Right. And so, and what's interesting is when we did the inspection, we used Brent again.
Yes.
And so it had been, 13 years, and I'm still working with him.
Yeah.
And went through. And I mean, obviously, we're never going to find 100% of stuff.
Right.
But we found a majority of the things that needed to be addressed or handled and taken care of. So, and I feel like sometimes some of the agents or teams are quick to go to somebody that they all like support, but maybe not somebody that they know. And like, so in the state of Nebraska, it's not required that a home inspector be licensed. They only have to be ASHI certified. But making sure that they have that ASHI certification, or I had a recent experience with somebody, they picked their own inspector, which was fine. They had the ASHI certification and a ton of Google reviews.
Okay.
But then got to the home inspection, and he didn't even walk the house with us.
Oh.
And I was like, right, that's kind of, I was like, oh, okay. Where, like, Brent would walk you through each room.
Yes.
And if you were in a room and you, like you said, I see this crack, is this something I should be worried about? You go with it. Now, did you ever call him after your inspections by...
Yes,
oh, okay.
We did.
Okay.
We did, because he had noted something in the attic above one of the bedrooms.
Okay.
And did I ever tell you this, that not long after we moved in, we live very close to a lake. It's very wooded. We got bats.
I yes. last year. Yep.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's a whole thing. There's mitigation. There are great companies to help you with that. But we had remembered seeing something in the inspection report about nests. About
okay.
Bird nests. And it was something he had helped clear out. They had, Bryant had gone up there with him and kind of checked it out. And so we had followed up and just said, like, did you see evidence of bats when we bought? Because, then of course there's this kind of idea of, did they not disclose it?
Sure.
And
sure.
He, got right back to us, which is fantastic, and just kind of walked us through. And I was like, I'm looking at the report. This is what I'm looking at. So it was wonderful. And then it was, thankfully we found the bats pretty quickly. So it was not a ton of them, but that's the joy of living in an area with, yes,
right.
Absolutely.
But see, we're near a golf course. And so when we moved in, we wound up having bats. Mm-hmm. And that's one of my other 30-minute with the realtors with the Batman.
Oh,
because that's who I had come out and do the whole bat. So I learned all these things about bats, and you can just get bats at any time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And they're protected and you can't kill them. And
yes.
Yeah, all the fun stuff.
You can't even get rid of them when they're having their babies. Like, you have to just leave them and live with them. But if they're not near you, just a little plug for bats. Bats are great for the environment. So be nice to bats.
Right, because they eat the bugs and they eat the spiders and they do that.
Yeah.
Okay, so what it would be, so we talked a little bit about home inspections. We talked a little bit about, like, your rituals. What would you say are some of the things that, we'll just put it out there for them. Name 3 things that you like that I do. Name 3 things you don't like.
3 things I like. You always answer my call or answer my text messages. I have never felt like I had to hunt you down. And I feel like you hear that about real estate agents. I can't get a hold of her. She doesn't return my calls in a timely manner. I was very lucky that when we bought, we were not in a super hyper hot market. But you still got back to me like we were. And I can't imagine what it would be like to work with a real estate agent, especially right now, who isn't like on top of that. We would miss out on things. So I loved that. I love the group that you bring. I love that you have people anytime. Still to this day, I'm at work 3 months ago and a coworker says to me, I'm in a Hearthstone home. I've got this leak coming in. He's not from here. I don't know any contractors. I was like, I've got you. And I pull out my phone and I text you and I was like, here's what's going on. And not only did you immediately say, here's my contractor, here's Eddie, like, he's so great. But you were also like, here's the exact issue that's going on with that Hearthstone home. Like, we sometimes see this as they settle. And it was just, I love that I feel like not only when I work with you do I get you, but I kind of get like your whole group. Aww. That's one of my absolute favorite things. I think overall, the reason that I choose to work with you and the reason that I recommend you to everyone, like, you just helped my brother buy a house, is that I know I can trust you. I know that when I'm selling and we get the report back on our house, that you can help me look over it and say, this is what's fair and this is kind of a lot. And when I'm on the other side of it, that you can do the same thing. And that I know that this isn't just a money-making job deal for you, that this is also something that you want what's best for me and my family as well. Mm-hmm. So that is worth everything. What would I not like about you? Okay, no, there's got to be something. You never look properly sweaty when I run into you at the gym, and that's kind of annoying. Because I usually look like I have fallen into a pool after a workout class.
But you rocked the Roomba. I have to admit, like, I was like, man, she's way better at this than I am. Or Zumba, sorry, Zumba. Yeah, we did Zumba.
I do also like Roombas, but yes. I can't think of anything. I guess if there was something that stuck out so clearly in my mind, I wouldn't continue to work with you and to recommend you to everyone.
No, I appreciate that. And that was what was fun. So your brother, I put in a house in Lincoln, which was super fun. And, oh my gosh. Yeah, just had fun getting to do that. And that's some of my fun of being able to work with clients is, and then getting to help their family members and mom and dads and that kind of stuff. And, because I remember when we did the first house, when we went for that and you were like, oh, hey, mom and dad are coming. I was like, okay, let's do it. Mom and dad.
Yes. Yeah. And even even my parents, who are basically home buying and selling experts. My mom grew up with a family that moved every year. We moved a dozen times when I was growing up. Like, they buy and sell a lot, and they have a lot of experience with the process. They've always used a realtor. They worked with many. And even my mom, who is very picky, will just say, like, oh my goodness, you have a good realtor. Like, she really actually knows what she's talking about. And, which is high praise.
Well, yeah, I was going to say, because moms are super honest. Like, she's got no reason to hold back. So,
yeah.
That's awesome. And I every once in a while will stop by the neighborhood if I'm out showing in the neighborhood, which was super fun this summer. Yeah. And especially because, like, when you have somebody that lives in the neighborhood, you're like, hey, so do you know about this house? Or who's living there? And why is this house for sale? You know, and because I tell my clients that, you know, the best place to get your information about your house is go talk to one of the neighbors who are outside, or, you know, because they usually know kind of the scoop on what's happening.
Yeah.
What would be, because you have had some friends, like in this market even, where it is crazy and it's so different than even just 4 years ago.
Yeah.
Like your biggest piece of advice that you would throw to them. Because I know, so like right now, the biggest things I see hurdles with are, I'm having to adjust closing costs, because even I've had a couple off recently. And because the fees are going up, which, you know, tends to happen over time.
Yeah.
But people that are resistant to going to get pre-qualified, and what I find that interesting is you worked at a bank.
Yeah.
So you knew, like, hey, this is what we need to do. So you were like totally ready. Again, you made it so easy for me. But there's a lot of, I get people that are like, oh, we just want to go see the house.
Right.
We'll get qualified if we like it. And what's interesting right now is 12 hours later, it's not available.
Yes. Yes, but even in a market that isn't super hot, people don't seem to realize the mortgage lending process is a very long process. And even the pre-approval, if you're not going online to do a Rocket Mortgage pre-approval, which is a very just like skimming the surface kind of pre-approval, you really need to get into a bank where you have a relationship, or work with a broker that has access to more information. It's not something, this is a huge financial decision. This isn't something you want to do by the seat of your pants. And what you get approved for probably is not what you really want to spend.
Right.
You know, you don't want to be house poor.
Right.
So I do definitely come to this process from the financial side. I've worked with mortgage lenders my entire career, and I know how long the process is, and I know how just incredibly like busy it is. There's just an incredible amount of very tedious paperwork that you have to do, and your timeline doesn't always match up with theirs.
Right. So let's be specific. So you said tedious. And I mean, because you're detail oriented, you always have your checklists.
Yeah.
Like you are on it. And most people aren't.
Yeah.
So, because I can tell people, hey, they're going to ask you for this, this, and this.
Yes.
But then they start into the process once you have a contract, then it changes.
Yes.
And I hear, there you go, well, how come they're asking me for this? And why do they need that? And I don't know that people don't realize, like, everything you spend on, everything you didn't pay for, like, comes to the surface when you go to buy a house.
Yeah. You have a medical bill that you forgot about, that's coming up. And they want to know why you didn't pay it, what the plan is to pay it. And you don't go into that with a sense of embarrassment. You can say, this is my financial history, but you need to be able to work with that mortgage lender in an honest way. And when they're coming to you and asking for information, I need your last 3 years of pay stubs. I need bank account balances. Don't buy a car right now. Like, don't finance anything else. My goodness.
No shopping sprees. Don't go to Nebraska Furniture Mart.
Nothing with credit.
Yeah,
you
don't go get a
are
credit
a cash
card.
only basis for 3 months, and it'll be totally worth it. But in general with banking, the reason that they're asking for that information is they're looking to establish that history, and they want to make sure that they are financing you in a way that works both for you and for the bank. So it is a process. Have the conversation at the beginning of what all do you need now, and also what do you need 30 days from now? Because some of that stuff, for some of us who haven't received a paper paycheck in well over a decade, you're going to have to figure out what that login and that password was. And sometimes you get locked out of your account, and some of this is personal experience. So then you have to call the help desk, And some of this takes a little time to get that paperwork back in. The mortgage process takes some time. You don't want to be the one holding it up. So have the conversation at the beginning of what do you need and when do you need it, and then start working on it. Have it available for your mortgage lender when they need it instead of having them come back and tracking you down the whole time. And if you have any questions, if you're working with a local bank, go into your bank. Your teller knows everything. Like, for real. Because this is, I'm back at a bank now.
Right.
And I'm a teller again. And we do this all the time. If somebody comes in and asks me for 3 months of statement, the first thing out of my mouth is, what are you buying? Because what you're buying depends on what kind of a statement you need. And I know that. But you've only bought one house and you don't know that. So I feel like I'm kind of going back to that same thought here of trust your experts. Go into the bank that you know, work with somebody you have a relationship with, or if you're working with somebody you don't know, get to know them and develop that relationship. Trust your experts. It just makes the process so much easier.
No, and shoot, you just taught me. I mean, that's awesome to know.
Yeah.
Now I know who I'm calling when
Yes.
I need a little extra help on a few things.
Yeah.
What would you say is the biggest piece of advice that you didn't know the first time you bought a house that you wish you had?
Be aggressive on your counteroffer. Yeah, when you get that home inspection, you don't have to just accept, oh, here's everything that's wrong. You really can go back and say, these are the things that need to be fixed. There is another house on the market. You may have to wait a little bit for it, but if you need to walk away, you have that power.
And I would say that's a big shift for how the market is now.
Yes,
because
that's true.
That
is
house
coming from a place of privilege here of like I bought during slow seasons, which was really great. The flip side of that is I sold during slow seasons, so that's not always as fun. But I would say it's okay. I guess I feel like
it's okay to walk away.
It's okay to walk away, and
Sure.
it's okay to ask for what you want. Don't well yourself into a house.
Right. Not settle.
Yeah.
Because I told you, I'll show you 20 houses until you find what's right. But
I was more than that. But yeah, for sure. Yeah.
And that's hard right now because
Yes.
buyers are competing with multiple offers.
Yes.
And a lot of times having to throw out a home inspection to
Yeah.
get into a house. And it's hard for us as realtors. And I don't know that people understand that. Like, it's hard.
Oh my God.
For me, super hard. Because I always say, let's do a home inspection.
Yes.
Like, because there's little things that will tee you off to bigger problems.
Yes. But that's another huge reason to work with a real estate agent that has the experience, because there are things, how many times have you and I walked through a home and you can point something out that definitely pops up on that home inspection list that I don't know to look for? Because you've done it. You've been there. You've done the home inspections.
Yeah, this year's word I would say is street creep.
Uh-huh.
Seems to be very
I just had 2 neighbors.
Really?
Yes, just across from me that went in and had to have the line cut.
Yep.
Yes.
An expansion joint.
Yes.
So and it's kind of a new, and it's not new, but it's just
no, it's not.
For whatever
we had
reason.
to fix it at Mayfair. Do you
Right.
remember when we sold Mayfair?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We had such bad street creep, and it come all the way up the driveway and into the garage floor, and it basically just like shattered the garage floor.
Mm-hmm.
So we had to have that replaced, and then that joint cut in, which was really great at the time because they did some water mitigation for us, which was really nice. But
yeah, and that's so I think it's existed, but I think people really kind of ignore it as an issue because if it's not an immediate problem per se, that they don't want to address it. Obviously, when it starts affecting like your garage floor, that's when it's really big. But the signs are very subtle.
Yes.
So unless you know kind of what you're looking for in it, and it doesn't have to be a full, like, oftentimes they're in cul-de-sacs because it's that centrifugal force that goes out from driving that hits on the foundation or hits on the driveway hits on the foundation, which is why those expansion joints, help out. But I feel like that's been a really big one this year. Overall for a lot of properties is having to address street creep and putting those expansion joints in and that kind of stuff, which has been, I don't know, it's interesting.
Is it an awareness thing? Is it a weird weather thing?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I would almost say awareness is probably a big part of it because, well, especially when I have people from other states that come here because not everybody gets it.
Yeah.
And some of it is also weather related.
Yeah.
But, you know, a lot of it is just the way that our streets and so forth. Everything's we're flat and we're not.
Yes.
And so I think that's another. What parting words would you have for a buyer or a seller or...
Yeah, I think you don't have to go with the first real estate agent you meet. I think go and have the coffee, sit in their kitchen with their kiddos, climbing on your lap. It's worth it. It's worth it to have that relationship, especially right now. I think there's probably a push to just find somebody and go right now because the market is so hot. I feel like if I were buying right now, I would want the opposite. This is the time that I would really make sure the realtor that I chose was somebody that I could trust, because this is going to be very wham bam right now.
Right.
So you really got to know who's on your side and make sure that they're on your side. So that would be my big piece of advice, is develop that relationship.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate that you sat down with me for 30 minutes with the realtor, and I'm sure we'll have the opportunity to talk to some of the other people because I'm going to be expanding my Google reviews. So, and I know Lisa's on a few of my review places because you write very eloquently. So I always love that. And we have so much experience, you know, having sold and done multiple transactions, and not always ones that were easy. And I think that everybody always thinks it's easy, and it's not. So thank you guys for joining us a little over 30 minutes with the realtor, but we had lots to talk about today. And we'll be joining you again soon before it's quickly, and maybe we'll talk about some scary stuff in real estate for October as we head towards Halloween. And I want to thank you for joining with 30 minutes with Realtor. I'm your realtor, Andrea Lane with Berkshire Hathaway Home Services, Ambassador Real Estate.
Ooh, that was fun.